music turned on. It's not the music.
I think you can hear that chime. So finish that sentence or idea, verse or stanza. Maybe there's an idea that you began with that you wanted to come back to. All right, so let's do this. Raise your hand if you got stuck at some point. Anyone? A little bit stuck? Yeah. Raise your hand if that felt like a very, very long time. Very, very short time? Time flies when you're writing on a Saturday morning. We got a mix, we got a mix. I see a little bit of this too. Raise your hand if you wrote about your favorite color. Anyone with me? Nice, nice. Raise your hand if you like what you wrote. Ooh, okay. Anyone want to share a line of something that they wrote? You have to unmute yourself. Oh, first hand up. You don't have to share. Not everybody has to share. Just if you really like something that you wrote, you can share a bit of it. Mayan?
Mine, I did a haiku. So should I read the first line or something?
Well, it's 17 syllables. How about you read the whole thing?
Okay.
Only hanging after the first line.
Cats are amazing. Cats always land on their feet. Cats eat meat a lot.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Does everyone know that there's ASL applause that looks like this? Cats always land on their feet. Woo! Look at.
How much do we have to do it all? We're not allowed to clap at assemblies.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyone else want to share a line or haiku that they wrote? Daniel, you were just adjusting your camera. Rahma, you wrote about turquoise? Yeah, all right, nice. Okay, so what we're gonna do is move through 2 more writing exercises. I don't know about you, but I got like a kind of half page here. I'm excited to write some more. I feel like it's not done, but for now I'm gonna put that aside. I'm gonna ask you to either turn over your notebook page or get a new piece of paper. And this is an exercise that's not so open-ended because we're going to have a step-by-step instruction. So what I want you to do is take a little moment like we're in art class at Arts Etobicoke and draw a circle in the middle of the page, big enough to be able to write a word or 2 in, and then draw 8 to 10 circles around the outside. It doesn't have to look beautiful, but it's to give you space to be able to put 8 to 10 words around your main word. So you might want to draw something a little bit like this, if it works for you. I wish I could just pass you the paper, but that's not how this works. sorry. All right. So now let's let whoever needs to finish wrapping up. But I think most of you might know that you can unmute yourselves if you're on a computer just by pushing the space bar. Oh, I'll answer a question, Mayan.
What makes something a poem?
It's a good question, and it takes a few examples to work it out. It's usually something, sometimes I talk about it as being not fact, but truth, something true, something that has a feeling. So you know how you wrote a haiku about cats? Mm-hmm. You talked about cats always landing on their feet. Mm-hmm. You can talk about how humans, we use that expression, like land on their feet. If you're going through something hard and you're able to kind of be able to move through it, that's an expression that's not just talking about feet, but it's talking about how we are in terms of being in relationship to our life. So it's a truth that's bigger than just the language that you're using. So if you're talking about cats eating, sleeping, napping, and then you start to talk about humans eating, sleeping, napping, and you start to make a meaning out of how we're living our lives, probably you're moving in the direction of a poem. So I really liked what you did with that second line there. Let's keep working and see if we can write some poems together. It takes some practice, but it's very doable. So can someone give me an idea of what they want me to write a poem about? I'm going to put that idea in the middle here. You can hit the space bar, throw out an idea. I think you have to hold it down. Who's got an idea? There's no right or wrong answers. Anything that comes to mind will work.
Waterfalls.
Waterfalls. Thank you, Dana. Okay, now we're all gonna use this as a starting point. So it says waterfalls in the middle. I know it's backwards, but can you now give me 8 to 10 words? When you hear of waterfalls, what do you think of? What do you imagine? What do you see, smell, taste, or hear? Give me some words. When I say waterfalls, what do you think of? Go ahead.
Rushing.
Rushing, I heard. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah.
Bright.
Bright. Thank you.
Cascade.
Cascading.
Cascading.
Cascading. Nice words. Keep going.
Fish.
Fish. Nice.
Bubbling.
Lovely.
Bubbling.
Oh, bubbling. Thank you. Bubbling.
Splashing.
Splashing.
Trickling.
Trickling. Yes.
Blue.
And blue. All right. Nice. We have some things we see, maybe some things we hear. I noticed that we have a lot of ing words like rushing, bubbling, splashing, trickling. That actually makes it possible for us to do something rhyming. So now I want you to write about anything you want. Don't choose waterfalls because that idea is already taken. So choose a different idea, put it in the middle just like we did, and then do that kind of, searching for ideas where you're putting down the first 8 to 10 words around the outside that you're thinking, that you're seeing, that you're imagining, tasting, or seeing, or smelling. So let me know when you're done. I will show you this next step of what we're going to do when you're ready. Can you put your hand in the air if you're done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. If you need 1 more minute, put your hand up. Okay. We'll do 1 more minute for our last group of people to join us. Okay, so we have an idea of something to write about, like waterfalls, and that idea is in the middle of our circles. And we have our ideas around our words that we associate around the outside. Sometimes if you got stuck coming up with an idea, I encourage you to think about an opposite. We use opposites in poetry to show the difference between things. It's called contrast or juxtaposition. It's a fun tool, like maybe like a hammer. And also, if you don't like some of the words, you could get rid of them. It looks like I crossed out these 2 words up here. What I did is I actually tried to make my words into very short sentences. And maybe you can see I also gave them an order. So I have the number 1 over here. The number 2 is over here, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I have 2 5s, 6, so this should be 7. So I had a moment and I just did this really quickly, intuitively, which means like how I felt like doing it. Let me read you what I came up with based on your words and our example. It sounds like this. The rushing water, blue cascading bright, is bubbling over and splashing through a trickling stream, fish shining light in water falling might. So I used our ing words in the middle of every sentence rather than having rhyming at the end. And I put a word before and a word end. It's sort of like I was inspired by haiku or something, like a very long form haiku. So sometimes certain words might jump out at us. We might like the sound of them and we might want to put them together in a particular way. Now, just like when I said that you could write about anything in our first exercise, you can write about anything in this exercise. And also there's no right or wrong way to do it. So let's see now if maybe you don't want to use a couple words or you put them together with other words. Let's see if you can make some sentences out of your words to move this piece of writing in the direction of creating a poem. All right, might take 3 minutes. Let's see how far we get in 3 minutes. right, that's 3 minutes. I don't mean to rush you. I do know that Alex is done. I asked Alex about a favorite line and I heard dangerous venom, dun, 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 which is beautiful. Nicely done. Maybe put your hand up if you're done. Maybe you need more time if you're writing really long sentences. If your lines are dangerously short like a piece of venom. I think that most of us are done. This is exciting. I'll show you what I did over here is you'll notice there's a few more scribbles on the page. So I thought, oh, I could make the sound a bit better if I change this or reorder this. So this is the kind of work that we do, which is called editing. It takes a little bit more time to step by step go through something again and again. Often the way that spoken word artists edit is by reading something out loud from the top. Because that gives us a sense of how the poem sounds in our mouths, through our bodies, by having to fit the words next to each other with a kind of geometry of speech. So I was looking for how this might sound when I was editing it. So does anyone else want to share a favorite line? I don't think I'd call it bragging. I'd call it like, oh yeah, Daniel. Celebrating instead. Was that your hand up or you're just suggesting again? Danielle, did you want to share a favorite line? It doesn't have to be something groundbreaking or that you're
Just adjusting my camera.
just suggesting. So say you're picking a line that stands out, that jumps out, that you kind of like, or one thing that can be interesting is having something that you want to write more about. Anyone want to share another line? Yeah, go ahead. Karen, is it? Or Laura?
I'm Laura, but a blank canvas is created.
Beautiful. A blank canvas is created. That sounds like the beginning of a poem. Elena?
Finding new ways to create instead of buying things like coffee.
Nice. Yeah. Is it coffee o'clock already? And finding new ways to create can be a really, really great way to spend our time together now. Vera, do you have coffee on your shirt or is that tea? Oh, I can't. It's hot chocolate. Okay, good. Any last lines you want to share? Vera, Rahma, Dana, Elena, Mayan?
Oh, sorry. I got an idea from Mayan's poem about cats, what you said about cats and humans. So I wrote, observing our two cats, the rhythm of their days, the mundaneness of their schedule, sleeping, eating, eating. Can we get used to sameness, eat the same food every day and never get bored?
So Elena, nice job. If you're doing something called repetition in poetry, like something like eating, sleeping, just repeating it can make us feel like time is passing or it can make us pay attention, right? Because if we eat, say, 3 times a day, or for a cat, maybe we only eat twice a day. So we say eating, sleeping, that's maybe a whole day that's gone. Eating, sleeping, another whole day is gone. Maybe we're losing track of how many times you're saying it, but it's captivating our attention, we're listening. So we can do interesting things to play with language. So that was a good draft of something, of an idea. This was an idea. We are going to work on one more idea before we polish up our favorite. So this will take a little bit of a moment to set up because I have my favorite deck of workshop cards here. I know my friend Rahma has played with this deck of cards before, but thankfully there's lots and lots of different cards. So I think what I'm going to do is, oh, Elena, maybe you've seen this in a classroom actually. I'm going to draw a card for, let's say, groups of 3. So, Justin, can you pick a card? This is a card that you're going to be writing about with Vera and Rahma. So pick a card, any card.
How will I pick? How will I?
And approximately where it's located. Good question.
Yellow?
You want yellow?
Yeah.
Oh, Rahma's helping you out. There's not a lot of yellows. Oh, here's one. Okay, this is a card that invites you to write about what you feel and how it connects you with others. It's backwards here. But what it says is, hold your hands over your heart and close your eyes. Know that all you feel has been and is felt by others, and it connects you to them. So that last part about what you're feeling and how it connects you to others, it's not backwards?
It's not backwards. No.
Oh, amazing.
It shows backwards on your side, but then it travels, I read about this in a book, when it travels through light, it switches it.
Whoa. Okay, I don't think it does that on Instagram. So I think also someone just informed me in the chat. I really appreciate your teamwork here. I'm glad you could read this. Excellent. Well, as you can tell, I'm reading it backwards, but I've seen these cards before, so I have the advantage. So you don't have to close your eyes or put your hand over your heart if that helps you in your writing. We're going to have 3 minutes and 10 seconds to write about this. So this is the card for Rahma, Vera, and Justin. Think about a feeling and then that you have felt, and then think about how it connects you with other people who might be feeling the same thing. We already did a little bit about that by talking about how cats are doing or feeling and then writing about them. So you three can get started on that. Okay, Daniel, Laura, and Karen. Can one of you pick a color? Tell me which card you might want to write about.
It was better if I could have used it.
Blue.
Purple. Sure, blue. Blue's good.
Blue. Oh. This one says, oh, you can see. Go for a walk. Okay, you can do the walk part or the wander. Go for a wander after the workshop, and wander. So imagine yourself outside for the time being. Imagine yourself laying in the grass and looking at the sky, feeling the breeze and the stillness of the air. So write about being outside. What your body feels, what you see, whether it's the sky, whether you're feeling the grass or the air, the breeze. Write about being outside. It can be from something you might do later or something you've done recently, any point in time. Write about being outside. Laura, Karen, and Daniel. Good. Now we have one card for our last group of 3. So Dana, you have someone with you. Welcome to this other someone. And we have Elena and Mayan. So who wants to pick from your group of 4 this card for you? Mayan?
I want another yellow one.
Another yellow one. Huh. Well, this means we are getting 2 cards that are very much the same. It says go outside. This one does say go outside. Pay attention to what's living, the trees, the earth, the sky. Feel your feet grounded in the earth and listen. So your job is to listen to what you're feeling when you're outside. So this card is about writing more from what you hear. Maybe you want to start in the morning. What do you hear in the afternoon? What do you hear in the evening? If you're listening, like a cat in the window or a bird in the tree, what do you hear as the time passes through the day? So all of these are ideas for what you can write about. I'm going to remind you that there's no right or wrong way to do this, that this is about a starting point, and you can take this idea in any direction you choose. So maybe you move on to something else, and then you even keep moving on, and you keep moving on. Let's see where your writing goes in these 3 minutes, and I will write about listening outside with this last group. Okay, let's start the timer. Any questions? This is a prompt. It's a starting point. We could have had something really simple like a cat or grass or a picture, just one word. Instead, we have an idea, we have a concept, and we have it written on these cards. Justin and Vera, Rahma, you're off to a great start. Everybody keep going. It doesn't have to rhyme. It can be about anything you want. Good question, Daniel.
We're not supposed to talk to each other. We're just supposed to write.
Yeah, just write for 3 minutes, kind of like what we did in the first one, except we have a very specific starting point. On your marks, get set, go if you haven't started. That's the timer you can probably hear. And finish that sentence or idea. Doesn't have to rhyme and you're done. Wow. All right, so 3 minutes. We didn't even have a 10-second grace period. I need to put in my last lines here because I got a first stanza, a second stanza, and so you may or may not be finished. Daniel, do you have a line that you like from what you wrote? No? Okay. So it might need a little bit of editing so that you like one part of it. All right, so if you started with one of these ideas and then you went on to several other ideas, raise your hand. Ah, cool. Maybe you made a list. Maybe you told a story. Raise your hand if you started with one of these ideas and you stuck with it all the way through. No right or wrong way of doing it, although more people did it that way, which is curious. I guess I sort of did too. And raise your hand if you got stuck at some point in this one. Maybe it was easier to get stuck this time than last time because you were coming back to this idea again and again, or you had to imagine something if you haven't been outside yet today. I think a few of us were writing about outside. I hope all of you have felt something today. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. Raise your hand if you like what you wrote. Ooh, okay. Does anyone want to share anything that they wrote? A line or more? You might have to remember and see, hey, what did I like about this? What did I even say? Rahma? Oh.
Okay,
No?
sure. I wrote about longing, like this desire to connect with humanity is our innate human need that regardless of our differences connects us all. Like even if it's for an acknowledgement that yes, you do exist in my world, that you are not invisible in a multitude of millions, that even like in that crowd, you are not lonesome. That sense of belonging is in our human nature. Like the search of a safe harbor, because sometimes a safe space like is a person.
Beautiful. Rahma, what was this line you had about a multitude of millions? Something about
the multitude of millions. Yes. That you're not invisible in the multitudes of millions.
That's beautiful. It's evocative, like Where's Waldo, right? That each of us exists, but it's juxtaposition to me because you're talking about not being invisible despite all the grains of sand.
All of the crowd, yeah.
Beautiful. Here's my applause. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Anyone else? Especially if you wrote about a feeling, it might be nice to hear. Oh, go ahead, Dana. Let's hear what you wrote.
The leaves of trees reaching, hands up to the sky, searching for further. Raindrops splashing the earth in patterns unknown to those who walk too quickly.
Nice. I love the image of the trees reaching, because this is like a personification, right? Just the way that a human might reach for something, a box off the top of a shelf. It's like the tree is reaching maybe for air, sky, freedom. It's a nice concept to build on. All right, we've got applause across the way, thumbs up from Justin and Danielle. Anyone else want to share anything? Well, we have a few minutes left and an interesting choice to make, because I know that what I started writing here about listening, I guess I could read it to you. It's not finished though. Listen in the morning to the silence, hear the people passing by, a few cars and many feet. Where are they all going? What does it mean when they stop going, 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 and I can't hear them passing by? Listen in the afternoon to the sun shining brightly, finally warming us up after a long winter's freeze. What is it like to melt, to become a part of something else, and an ending stream of life? Listen as the evening sets and the dark settles with its corresponding sounds. What is it like to rest? I don't know what the rest is, but you may have finished this piece of writing, or you may have finished your free writing, or maybe you finished your web piece of writing, or maybe you have 3 whole things that you still need to work on to finish. I wonder which is your favorite piece of writing, and I wonder if we can close with a go around of somebody either talking about their favorite piece of writing or sharing a little bit something that they haven't shared yet. So that would be like a nice little way for you to look back over what you did. Maybe you need to write something down, scribble a little bit to finish it up. So pick your favorite piece of writing and then pick a line from it. And there's no such thing as a circle on Zoom. We're all boxed in here. But let's take a turn and hear something, either some thoughts about writing or something that you wrote from each of the folks here as we wrap up. So I'll go first, and I'll say probably my favorite piece of writing was the web, because it's closest to finished and I like the rhyming words. But I would give a special honorable mention to the last piece. I feel like I could finish that too if I had a little bit more time. So who wants to go next? You can put your hand up, or Justin, go ahead.
My favorite piece was the web because I'm finished the web.
Okay, yeah, you also finished it. Nice. I applaud you. Thank you. What was your web about, Justin? Do you want to tell us?
Snakes.
Snakes. Ooh, with dangerous venom. I remember now. Cool. Thank you, Justin. Who wants to go next? Vera? Yeah, go ahead.
My favorite piece of writing was probably the web, because I'm closest to being done.
Nice. Yeah. And what was your web about? Do you want to tell us?
Puppies.
Puppies! Oh my goodness, we had puppies, snakes, and cats on this Zoom call. What? Thank you for sharing, Vera. Nice. Whoa. Who wants to go next? Oh, go ahead, Laura.
My favorite piece was the last one because I enjoyed describing feelings. Well, I didn't do feelings, but just enjoyed describing nature and how it makes you feel in it. It pricks
Nice.
my skin, but I step in. Seaweed winds between my feet. Lots of minnows I will meet. That's just a section.
Beautiful. Both seaweed and minnows right in the same magical space. I love it. So writing about nature and how we feel. Great topic. Thanks, Laura, for sharing. Woo. Who do we want to hear from next?
I can also share while I'm unmuted.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Good. I like the web as well. I did a bit of spring, so I'll just read a part. I put green is sprouting in the garden, pushing aside the last of the winter's snow, stretching towards the new warmth of the sun. It is the promise of new life. Hello, spring.
Beautiful. Thank you, Karen. You're also reminding me that I'm thinking of these things a little bit in a box, but actually perhaps 2 of the pieces could go together if you want to finish editing. I'm seeing a yes from Rahma, from Akshata. Maybe there is a way to put, waterfalls and sounds of nature together. Very easy, very obvious, right? So maybe you want to play with that in your 2nd or 3rd draft as you work to finish something that's poetic, perhaps. Rahma, do you want to share any closing thoughts?
Sure. The ones that I liked the most, honestly, they were like all like all of them basically, but I felt like I like really resonated with the last one and the first one, because the first one talked about my favorite color, like, and how like watching my niece working on a huge blank canvas like swelled my heart like with pride. um yeah, like watching her hunched over working hard like to create her own masterpiece. So like basically like the whole passing of a torch, like in a way. Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm also remembering that's not the first time we've heard blank canvas here as an image.
Yeah.
You know, so how many ways are there to use a singular blank canvas with all the different tools that we have? Thank you for sharing. Applaud you. Daniel, which activity did you enjoy?
I like the second one because I got closest to finishing it.
Nice. So maybe you can finish it in the next 2 minutes. And do you want to share what it was about?
It was about movies.
Oh, cool. Very nice. Dana?
I enjoyed the last one a lot. Kind of just being able to think about all the different aspects of nature that can be put into a poem.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. Applauding Daniel, applauding Dana. Akshata, did you do any writing?
No, I got distracted with something else in between.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough.
With everything, and yeah, just listen to everyone's beautiful poems.
Yeah. All right. If Elena, I think we lost my end, but did you want to share anything?
We lost my end. Yeah. I put together some sounds with the poem about humans that was inspired by Mayan's poem about cats. And I wrote something about that idea of being indoors, which is kind of where I started.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I can make it if you want, but
go ahead, yeah.
What's the outlook? I know you bought.
Humans alone in their homes make noise, slam doors, oil sizzles, talk, play music. Reinventing family time and slowing down, we find new ways to create. Usurp the cat's couches, observe the rhythm of their days, of their daily schedule, sleeping, eating, sleeping, eating. Can we get used to sameness? We are animals too. That's enough, yeah.
Nice. Thanks for sharing. Oh, look at all that applause. I don't know if you have gallery view, but it's beautiful to see everyone applauding. Nice. Well, I'm imagining how if we had more time, we could write maybe a poem about how the movie of our lives is unplaying in this time of spring, and we're hearing, you know, animal sounds and taking in nature from windows and outside, and looking through the windows of Zoom to see our nieces turn blank canvases into masterpieces, and all of us living somewhere between the edge of something new and a masterpiece, always iterating, changing, and playing and creating. So it would be fun to put all of our ideas together in a more sophisticated way. But the final job of polishing your work and making it into a sophisticated poem, as you wanted to, as you mentioned at the beginning, is up to you. So my name is Tanya. I'm a poet, and I know it, and I like to show it. It's been an honor and a pleasure to be here writing with all of you today. I hope you will keep writing in your own time and spaces. Maybe you can help those little siblings or other friends or family members in your spaces or online to do some writing as well. it's an important time for us to be creative and reflect on what's going on in our lives. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Nice to see you. Have a good rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much, Tanya, and thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Lovely meeting everyone. Bye. Bye.